It's time for Down on the Corner with Dale Hoffman, North Arkansas's premier news talk program. Brought to you by Brewed Awakening Coffee, with 3 locations to serve you. Baxter Regional Medical Center lobby, Highway 62 412 at Balmer Boulevard, and the Walmart East Plaza. And now, Down on the Corner.
Good morning, North Central Arkansas and Southern Missouri. It is Wednesday, October 10th, 2018. It is 7 a.m.
It's a beautiful morning.
It sure is. Got a little bit of rain last night.
We did.
Yeah.
We did. Not as much as I thought we would have,
Yeah.
but every little bit adds up.
Even this morning, took the little dog out to walk at 5:30, and I'm sitting there, feet are wet.
A little bit of washout this morning coming down the hill.
Did you?
Yeah.
Good.
Gathered up on top of the hill and just all rushed to the bottom, and man, it was nice.
And got some rain last night. Yay! Boy, I was getting dry as a humpless camel in the sunset.
Watch it, get out of here.
Anyway, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Down on the Corner program. Dale Hoffman, your host. We're enjoying Brewed Awakening coffee.
There you go.
Wow.
I'm not. You are.
You got the dumb water or smart water today?
I got the dumb water.
Dumb water. Normally it's smart water. I haven't
Sunny.
seen any difference. So
It's a little cheaper.
the dumb water or the smart water?
The dumb water.
Be sure to check out Brewed Awakening Coffee with 3 locations to serve you. They've got Balmer Boulevard, which is going to be busy. It's 7:01 on the computer clock here, and so here in the next 45-50 minutes, Balmer Boulevard area is going to be really busy with Brewed Awakening Coffee.
You got the line of kids headed to school that needs the copy to get pepped up, and then you got teachers stopping there just hoping they can keep up with the kids.
Teachers over here, kids over here.
There you go. That's how it works.
Then, of course, they've got Baxter Regional Medical Center lobby. They serve a lot of folks at the hospital there with Brewed Awakening Coffee. And 62 East Plaza out by Anytime Fitness. Brewed Awakening Coffee is the best coffee in town. Don't go park in front of a grocery store and stand in line. Just drive through Brewed Awakening 3 locations. Well, you can drive through 2 of them.
Yeah.
One you have to walk in the hospital, but anyway.
I don't know. One guy tried to make
He
it
tried
drive through.
that, yeah, but he's still in the federal pen over that one.
One guy tried to make that a drive
That was
through.
a scary day. I just happened to turn on Cardinal Drive, right? And then as soon as I turned, they put out the tack strips and blow the guy's tires, and he drove around those. That was weird. Anyway, Brewed Awakening Coffee, the best coffee in town. If you don't believe me, stop by and have a cup of coffee with us sometime. If you're not drinking Brewed Awakening, you're just drinking muddy water. And, of course, Roller Funeral Homes of Arkansas bring the morning prayer each and every day with all our respect across the state of Arkansas. Roller Funeral Homes, the utmost in professionalism, pride, respect, you name it, they do it. And they just bend over backwards to help you in your time of need when the need arises for the service for your family. Roller Funeral Homes of Arkansas. Let's pause now for our morning prayer. Heavenly Father, it's so sad in our society today, the young people we refer to as snowflakes, in the way they react when things don't go their way. Lord, things don't always go the way I want them, but I don't go busting out windows or burning police cars or trying to knock down the doors to the Supreme Court. Lord, normal behavior shouldn't be like this, but we see it more and more every day. We call it the participation trophy syndrome. Lord, help us to accept loss and defeat, but to come back to win in a decent manner. That's my prayer today. Amen.
Amen.
Roller Funeral Homes of Arkansas bring morning prayer each and every day. With all our
Roller
respect.
Funeral Home. All right.
All across the state of Arkansas. Time for the weather.
Dun, dun, dun.
You tuned the trumpet. I'm impressed. Put a little oil on those little valves there.
There you
You
go.
go. All right. And so we have got 68 degrees. This is different. They've changed this format or something. Oh, probably because it's scrolled all the way down. Somebody's been messing with the computer. Well, let's first take a look. Let's throw the screen up.
Well,
first.
you're gonna change the screen right on the mid thing, and I've got it. I had it perfect.
A good director is always prepared.
Oh, I'm prepared.
Michael is now a Category 4 hurricane and landfall expected. You can see the map here. This right here, New Orleans, Louisiana. This is southern Mississippi, southern Alabama, southern Georgia. You see the west coast of Florida. And so maybe we need to rephrase that morning prayer and take a look and just pray for folks in the southeast part of the country.
I imagine there's some evacuation orders in place
Mandatory.
right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of mandatory evacuations.
They were expecting an 8 to 12 foot storm
Yeah.
surge with that.
Yep, sure are. Anyway, Hurricane Michael winds 130 miles an hour. Pressure is 945 millibars. Movement north at 12 miles per hour. 12 miles per hour. Location is 27.7 north and 85.6 west longitude and latitude right now. So prayers for the southern part of the country, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi. Got some friends down in Waveland, Mississippi, right on the coast. I mean, just like they live here and the water's right there like we are to Commerce Drive out here. And so hopefully it'll skirt away from the folks over there, but many prayers needed for the southeast part of the country. Right now we're at 68 degrees in Mountain Home, 65 at Harrison. Hardy shows a little bit of a shower at 68 degrees, while Mountain View is already at 70 degrees. It's 68 at Yellville, 70 at Marshall, 68 in beautiful little Calico Rock, Arkansas. They've really done a great job revitalizing downtown along the White River.
They have. I remember back when they had that train that went through there, and I think they moved it to Branson now. But
oh yeah,
yeah.
That's just freight trains coming.
We used to take the scenic train
from
from
so
there,
much fun.
and you could go up through up to Harrison and
Bergman and around. Yeah.
I was
pretty
proud to
cool.
see that bridge rebuilt. That really improved things right there.
St. Louis checks in at 71 with showers there. Poplar Bluff has some rain at 72. 63 at Branson. So the cold front apparently is in Branson. It's quite a bit of difference there. 63 at Branson, 70 in West Plains, Watford City, North Dakota. Oh, happy birthday to my son in Watford City today. He's got a
happy
birthday. Hey, Costin. Happy birthday. Watford City, North Dakota, 30 degrees.
happy birthday. It's freezing.
Yeah.
Pretty much how it goes.
Yeah.
Get you Long Johns on.
Ooh, 30 degrees. On the radar, we do have some stuff showing up in Arkansas, Missouri, and Illinois. We'll start down south around Texas. Shower activity down there. Then in Arkansas, and it looks like from Memphis, well, let's just hit the Little Rock stop. You ready, Scooter?
I'm ready.
Okay, the Little Rock stop here. Memphis to Jonesboro, up across the Missouri state line. Of course, the radar sweep stops at about Kennett, Missouri, right there. So we do have some shower activity on I-40 east, Little Rock to Memphis, down towards Pine Bluff, falls south. Then a little bit of shower activity over in Batesville. West part of the state, I-49 clear, 62-412 west is clear, 62-412 east. Going to have some shower activity over in the northeast part of the state. Highway 67, 167, going to have some light showers once you get around Sherwood, Jacksonville, going towards Batesville and Poplar Bluff. I-30 from Little Rock to Texarkana in good shape. I-40 west towards Fort Smith in good shape at this time. Checking the state of Missouri, we'll go to the St. Louis stop first for our friends in Missouri. Got some shower activity on Highway 67 from Poplar Bluff. Looks like it's going to be all the way up to about Farmington. Other shower activity on I-44 about halfway between Rolla and St. Louis on I-44. I-70 with some showers east of Columbia going into St. Louis. I-64 east out of East St. Louis, Illinois to Mount Vernon. Showers east of Mount Vernon, Illinois on I-64. On Interstate 70 going east towards Vandalia, Effingham, Illinois. We do have showers between Vandalia and Effingham on I-70. Other showers, in fact, up in the northern part of the state, in the Quad City area, they've got some flood boxes in Illinois, which is not going to affect us, but nevertheless, the farmers up there need that. Southwest Missouri, we do have a line of showers from Clinton to the Arkansas state line. These are very, very light. It will affect, well, that's still west of Highway 65, so it's going to affect Highway 60, 160, in Interstate 44, so Tulsa, Joplin, Springfield, a little bit of shower activity between Joplin and Springfield. You see I-44, Springfield, Lebanon, Rolla. You see I-70, Kansas City towards Columbia in pretty good shape right now. Overall, showers in, 30 degrees, and the Dakota is going to be freezing precip. Minnesota, Wisconsin, eastern Iowa, northwest Illinois, southwest Wisconsin, all getting showers, and they kind of trail all the way down to mid-state Illinois. Showers along I-70 at the Illinois-Indiana line, Kentucky, South Carolina, all getting showers. You can see
that swirl.
See that swirl right there,
yeah,
the hurricane
right there.
Yeah. And so, for the forecast, let's see if it updated today. There we go. Right now, 68 degrees. We've got a 20% chance of showers with a high of 73. Tonight, the low will be 46 degrees.
Whoop, whoop.
Then tomorrow, a high of 64.
I like that.
A high of 64. I think that'd be a good hiking day, you know? Go out to Cotter, go out by the White River, and just walk around the river a little bit.
We're getting closer into some deer hunting temperatures, so
yeah.
I'm getting excited
Yeah.
for that. I just can't go out deer hunting when it's hot. It ain't happening.
Well, I was in Nashville Saturday for the Antique Radio Swap Meet, and normally this time of year it's 59, 60, 61 degrees. It's a lot of fun. You know, it'd be a nice, cool, crisp morning because it starts at 7 a.m. It's over on the east side of Nashville over by the airport. We were sweating like crazy. I mean,
there's
92
no doubt.
degrees. When it finally wrapped up around 10:30, 11 o'clock, it was 92 degrees in downtown Nashville. Saturday.
My goodness.
Anyway, Thursday night, low of 42. Friday, a 20% chance of showers with a high of 62. Friday night, 20% chance of showers, a low of 45. Saturday, slight chance of showers, high of 63. Low of 50 Saturday night. Sunday, 60% chance of showers with a high of 60. So it looks like the fall-like temperatures are coming through, you know.
It's
And
about time.
I'm really ready for these trees to turn colors. You know, you drive from
Mine are starting to turn. I don't know about yours, but
well,
my house, they're turning.
I got a
gotta-
pecan tree with a hint of yellow on it, but my maple out front, I'm just getting a lot of just brown leaves falling. You know, I don't know if it's the dryness or what it amounts to. Anyway, from Arkansas Forestry Commission, there's no burn bans in the state of Arkansas. All 75 counties with no burn bans as of 10/9/18. Wildfire danger is low. Doesn't mean we can be careless. It means we still have to be careful, but the wildfire danger is low at this time. Prescribed burns in the state, none prescribed right now. Drought situation in Arkansas will probably be updated to be a little bit better than this, especially in northwest Arkansas. Right now, overall state, really no drought at all. A D0 with a hint of D1 in extreme Benton County in northwest Arkansas. Then down here in, it'd be Miller, Lafayette, Union, and Columbia counties. They are a D0 to D1 drought in the extreme southern part of the state of Arkansas. But Arkansas is very fortunate right now to not have a drought situation. Missouri, of course, hopefully this will change. There was a lot of shower activity. Remember yesterday we looked at the
Yeah, they were
Kansas
talking
City
about
area?
flooding up through there.
The Platte County, Clay County, and Jackson County, Missouri. This is along the Missouri River and I-70. Then we do have a drought situation right here, a little bit of dryness in Boone County, Cole County, and Montague County in Missouri. This will be updated sometime tomorrow. They update every Thursday, so this is as of October 2. So hopefully the drought won't be as severe in Missouri. And in fact, I was over at Harold's Auto Parts yesterday, and the guys they were still out cutting some hay.
Take a while to cure that hay out this time of year.
Yeah, it will. Yeah, it will. So, okay, community calendar. What do you got?
There's not much.
I mean, everything just
we
kind of
had
stopped.
we were so
Friday.
piled up. We could have had almost an hour show on everything that was happening last week, but then this week everything kind
it
of
fizzled
drops
out.
off. But I will say this: the 8th and 9th grade Bomber football team is going to Little Rock Christian to play
Yeah.
El Dorado, and that should be a really good game. That'll be Thursday evening, I think. The 8th grade plays at 5 and 5:30 or something like that, and then the 9th grade plays at 7.
And so I did pull up the October newsletter for Mountain Home Christian Academy. Please consider sponsoring Mountain Home Christian Academy Athletics by placing a banner in the gymnasium for your business. For information, contact Robin Robinson at 870-404-6378 or Debbie Woods at 870-421-1288. Mountain Home Christian Academy teaches no Common Core, takes no government funding. 424-6622 is their phone number. And you can even call Sandy at the desk and make arrangements with that. The chili dessert and the dinner and dessert auction Thursday, November 15th from 6 to 8 p.m. This is where you have to be careful because Chris Nassari is always the auctioneer.
Oh no, that's that one. Don't sneeze. You bought a pie.
Don't scratch your nose.
You
I
bought
told Nassari, I said, if I do this, that doesn't mean like $1,000. You know. Anyway, this will be the 5th annual family style fundraiser event featuring Wendy's Chili and the best desserts available for auction, with special bidding time reserved just for kids. This fun event takes place in the gym at 6 o'clock. Thursday, November 15th. Proceeds go towards school security, technology, office equipment. I'll be there. That's some good chili.
I believe you.
Oh,
There's
man,
no doubt in my
it's
mind.
good, it's good. And event coordinator, Mrs. Elsa Coddington. So, it's going to be a lot of fun. And Kindness Incorporated's annual Golden Gala is set for November 10th from 6 to 8. This is their big fundraising event. Now, Kindness Incorporated provides transportation to those that can't get around.
Yep.
Marion and Baxter counties, and doctor's appointments, buy groceries, whatever it may be. And so it's an all-volunteer basis. People come in, I'll drive for 3 hours, and they take people where they need to be. The gala sponsor is $2,500, the gold sponsor for $1,200, silver sponsor for $750, bronze sponsor is $250, while the table decorations is $150. Call Debbie Womack at 870-425-6475 for that activity. And Kindness Incorporated, man, they serve a lot of folks in the two-county area.
They do. The area they cover, the miles they put on.
And so, 7:15, time for a quick break. Our guest today, Bruce Emerson and Senator Clark, District 13. Be right back.
You've tried medications just cover up the pain, and you've tried dieting to help lose weight. Before you try something drastic like surgery to get rid of the numbness and tingling, why don't you try a better approach to health? Hi, I'm Dr. Charles Osgood, and at Mountain Home Family Chiropractic, we heal the whole person the natural way.
At Mountain Home Family Chiropractic, we take a hands-on approach to chiropractic care, massage therapy, and nutritional counseling. Our 20 years of service has led to successful results.
When I come in to see Dr. Osgood, sometimes after one adjustment, I have immediate relief. Sometimes it takes 4 or 5 adjustments.
I recommend Mountain Home Family Chiropractic because it really works and keeps me pain-free.
Mountain Home Family Chiropractic supports the community by donating to Mountain Home Food Basket and the Lions Club. Request an appointment with us today at Mountain Home Family Chiropractic. Excellence for your body and frame alignment.
Our roll burger was only 7 ounces, but now it's 8 with brioche bun and pickles. Comes with its own steak knife, it's really that big. Your best competition is always yourself. Chili's is back, baby, back, baby, back. Oh baby, Chili's is back, baby, back, baby, back. We're focused on one thing, burgers, ribs, fajitas. Just that one thing, burgers, ribs, and fajitas. We're reeling in our menu because it got out of hand. We had a moment of self-actualization. Chili's is back, baby, back, baby, back. Oh baby, Chili's is back, baby, back, baby, back.
Nemus Pizza in Gassville, Arkansas is your home for national and international award-winning pizza. Nemus Pizza offers artisan-made award-winning pizza with only the freshest and finest of ingredients. Each pizza is made from scratch and hand-tossed at the time you place your order. And also check out their calzone strombolis, an oven-baked folded pizza stuffed with your choice of meat. Sauce can be on the side or included inside at your request. Nemus Pizza in Gassville, Arkansas, your home for award-winning pizza. With a large showroom of over 13,000 square feet, the Furniture Depot is your local choice for quality name-brand furniture at prices anyone can afford. They carry a great selection of catnapper recliners, power recliners with lumbar support, and lift chairs. Check out Furniture Depot's variety of living room and dining room sets in various styles and designs. And don't forget about their mattress gallery featuring Serta, Symbol mattresses, and adjustable beds. Family owned and operated, that's Furniture Depot, located in the Ozark Shopping Center in Mountain Home. Do you ever feel like your butt's dragging and you could really use a lift? Ozark Diesel Off-Road. Ozark Diesel Off-Road has been installing lifts for over 25 years. They specialize in all your off-road vehicle needs, from general repairs such as engine diagnostics, clutch and brake repair, to custom fabrication like axle gears and lockers, leveling and suspension kits, and everything in between. So if your vehicle could really use a lift, head to Ozark Diesel Off-Road, located at 5051 Highway 62 East, or give them a call at 870-425-LIFT.
If you want the best breakfast or lunch in the Twin Lakes area, then you've got to come to the Old Time Restaurant. Voted the best breakfast and lunch for 2011, the Old Time Restaurant not only gives you the Southern hospitality right when you walk in the door, they also offer scrumptious breakfast options to curb that early morning appetite. Or stop in later in the day for a tasty sandwich, salad, or a daily special. If a sweet tooth is your guilty pleasure, you can't go wrong with the Pie Lady cooking out over 30 different types of pies. That's the Old Time Restaurant, located on the square in Mountain Home.
(7:19), we want to welcome to the studio Senator Clark and Bruce Emerson. Gentlemen, welcome. It's good to see everybody.
Morning, Dale.
Good to have you.
Good to be here.
Good morning, Scooter, too.
Oh, yeah,
Hey,
Scooter.
I've got a question.
Okay.
When I come, there's never a cinnamon roll. There's what?
I didn't know you were gonna be here for
They're supposed to be cinnamon
They're-
rolls.
Don't
Hey,
look over
they're
here.
big-
He handles the cinnamon rolls.
They're
so.
they're big as dinner plate.
Yeah,
I mean, one would serve us all.
I see how it
But
is now.
That's the way it goes.
I
That's the way it goes.
bet there were cinnamon rolls when the governor was here.
No. Actually, Governor was here at 5 o'clock. We recorded at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. He was going to the Farm Bureau dinner. So, last time I went to Brood Awakening and get those, they ran out.
I can see how. I can
Yeah.
see why. Man, those things are huge.
And good. I'll tell you what, they stay so busy over Bomber Boulevard. A lot of times I went out to Highway 62 to pick up some. Said we're out. So I went over to Bomber Boulevard and they had 3. So
Dale, I've invited Senator Clark to come up and talk about specifically issue 3 on the November ballot this year. It's kind of important. There's a whole lot of talk on social media about it. I don't know that there's precious few people in the political realm in Arkansas that knows in depth what's going on with the term limit issue that's on the ballot, and I just feel like that Senator Clark is the most informed person that I have been able to talk to and been able to articulate, and I appreciate him for being able to come up. Senator Clark is Hot Springs area, and he's driven up here to be on the show this morning and talk about term limits. And Senator Clark, thank you for coming and availing us your knowledge this morning. Thank you.
Well, thank y'all for having us.
you bet. You go ahead and talk. I want to try to find how that's worded here. I think I've got it in this from.
It's worded vote no.
Yeah, there you go.
Vote no.
Thank you for that. Yes, issue 3. I'm against it. Vote no. Want to be sure, and we start out with that. But I support term limits, and there's reasons not to support term limits. A lot of people say that term limits are the ballot box.
That's what I've learned.
But I support. I think there's good reason not to have people for 30 and 40 years.
But that's our fault.
True. But the Bible says moderation in all things. And there's a difference between philosophy and law. And while I support term limits, this is a terrible law. And before 2016, we had the shortest term limits in the nation. And all the states that had the same term limits that we have changed them because it wasn't working, except for Michigan. And I don't know anyone that wants to be like Detroit. And with good.
Pardon the chuckle. Yeah, who wants to be like Detroit?
And the people who are trying to get this back in are angry, aggravated, and they talk about some of the deficiencies in the state. But all the deficiencies, you have to go back and say, we had the shortest term limits in the nation from the late 90s until 2016. So, everybody's been serving under those term limits. And let's look at some of the things. We raised spending to record levels. That's what we got under short-term limits. We have raised the number of state government employees to record levels. 69% of our third graders couldn't read proficiently. We were 47th or 48th in education. We passed Obamacare, and some of the worst corruption we've seen in decades. And people want to talk about it. That is a reason to put term limits back to the shortest in the country, but all those things happened when we had the shortest term limits in the country. So by all means, if that's what we want, then vote for issue 3, but that's not what we want. And experience matters. If experience didn't matter, why not just send everybody up for 2 years? Because that's the argument that the other side wants to make, is that experience doesn't matter at all. So if we're really going to have short-term limits, let's just make them 2 years. But it does matter. It takes there's a learning curve, and most legislators under this law would only serve 6 years. And let's talk about what the law is. It's 6 years in the House, which I discovered right after I was elected was too short, and it's 10 years overall, which would be even shorter than we had before. And most people, even who worked to put it on the ballot, didn't know about the 10-year overall limit. So while
where did something came in the 16 year? What was that? 16 total amount served 16.
That's what it is now.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now it's 16. And by the way, since you brought up the 16 years now, before we had 8 and 6.
Yeah,
6 in the House, 8 in the Senate. And the Senate was not affected the way the House was, because most senators served 6 years in the House and they could serve 8 in the Senate. So they had experience and they knew what they're doing. In the House, every legislative session, you had an average of 2 years experience. You had 1/3 with 0 experience, 1/3 with 2 years experience, and 1/3 with 4 years experience, which you got 2 years experience. And so you're leaning on the lobbyists and you're leaning on bureaucrats to be told what to do. And that's one reason the spending always stays high, is because you're always told what you can't do. And it takes a while. We just finished up education adequacy yesterday. And I bet I don't bet, I know that there are probably only 10 legislators out of 135 that really understand education adequacy, because education committee is one of the most complicated committees. We meet 2 days every month, and year round we study what it costs to staff a school, to maintain a school. But by law, because of the Lakeview decision, to stay out of court, we've got to come back and say this is how much money it's going to require per student. And one of the things that I've discovered that really affects places like Baxter County and Marion County is transportation is part of that formula. Well, we break that out per student. Well, teachers, principals, superintendents, maintenance and operations, that makes sense. But transportation, Bentonville, Little Rock, Fort Smith, their cost for transportation is like this. Your cost when you get into rural school districts, running out through the hills with a few kids, and often dirt roads and gravel roads where you're just beating the school buses up, is huge. And we're giving everybody the same amount.
What do you think the school buses total per day for Mountain Home School District? When they go and pick the kids up, bring them in, and take them home, and all the buses park, and they total up the mileage per day, what do you think it is?
I don't know.
2,200.
It doesn't surprise me.
We've got one bus that goes Highway 5 north to 160 in Missouri, turns left, comes back into northeast Marion County, Arkansas, back into Missouri, back into Arkansas, Baxter County, takes the kids to school. They get on the bus around 6:30 a.m. and off the bus at 5:30 p.m. or 5 o'clock p.m.
But we've been talking about teacher salaries because the governor made some promise on teacher salaries. My dad was a teacher, my mother-in-law was a teacher, and so that's important to me. But who's having the hardest time paying teacher salaries? Our smaller rural schools. And so, but we're taking our transportation money, dividing it evenly, and so we're giving more money to the schools, the big city schools who have lower costs, and less money to our small rural schools. Well, it took me 3 years to figure that out. Okay, and now we're fighting, and I have been screaming and yelling about this, and finally they said, well, we'll do it this next time around. And I said, well, if issue 3 passes, we're never going to do this, and we're talking about hundreds of dollars per child in each one of these schools that they should be getting, that instead, like I said, Bentonville or Fort Smith is getting. So these are real issues. Everything is not gun control and abortion. These are issues that take thinking, that take time to figure out. I'm known for working in child welfare. We had in Garland County, my third year, 2015, we had 8 children that were taken from their home. They sent 34 people on a SWAT team, and it turns out they shouldn't have been taken. I didn't know that in the beginning, but because the state was so stubborn, and once I figured it out, in fact, I had to hold the state's budget to get DHS to talk to me. I had to hold DHS's budget to get them to talk to me. And they still didn't talk to me. This went on for weeks.
Choke the money.
This went on for weeks, and I had the majority leader, I had the budget leader, actually the majority whip and the budget chairman coming to me and saying, they're going to lose grants, they're going to lose all kinds of federal money by this deadline if you don't let the budget go. And I said, I'm not going to let it go. I'm not going to be upset if you run over me. And they said, we've never run over anybody that's held a budget. And I said, well, I'm not going to let it go if they don't talk to me. So I got a guarantee that they would. That afternoon, we met in the budget chair's office with DHS, and the DHS attorney came in and said, Senator, we apologize. You were right. The law says we have to tell you everything. And then I got mad. Keep in mind, I'm in my third year. The whole legislature has held their budget. The same law where they were telling me that they didn't have to talk to me, right there under it says that they actually did have to tell me. Then once I got that investigation and synopsis and started reading it, that's when questions were raised and I started doing my own investigation. That's when I found out the people weren't guilty. And 21 months later, we were still pursuing these people. It took 90 days to get these children back in their home. 21 days are still on the maltreatment list. They still couldn't have worked as teachers. They still couldn't have been policemen. They still couldn't have been nurses. Still couldn't have worked in child care. And we're pursuing them with a state senator screaming and yelling, why are we harassing these people? And had an email not come out that I should have gotten from day one, that our supervisor on the case the next morning wrote that said we screwed up, we would still have these people on the maltreatment list. And so again, and we deal with every day, my wife and I cry with people. You just would not believe the grandparents and the aunts and the uncles, not parents who wrongly lose kids, because parents wrongly lose kids in this system, but often parents should lose kids. But you have grandparents that were the primary caregivers, and
You get a lot of that here.
and we give them to strangers, and it's all in secret. And so that's been a lot of my fight. And this is not, we accomplished a lot in the last session, and we'll accomplish some in this session, but this is not going to happen overnight. It's not like I and some others are wanting to stay, but if we're not there, if you don't have someone who understands the issues and knows how to fight it, it won't get done. And the swamp wins. For everybody who wants to fight the swamp, if you take the people out who actually have some experience and know how to fight. I mean, imagine if you went whichever airport y'all fly out of, went and got on the plane, and you're getting ready to take off, and they come in and tap the pilot on the shoulder and say your term's up, and bring a guy right out of flight school. That makes no sense. Or you're going into the hospital for some important surgery, and they come tap the doctor on the shoulder. Of course, experience matters.
Yeah. Let's take a quick break. 7:32, visiting with Senator Clark, Hot Springs area. Be right back. Oh, and Bruce Emerson.
Diatley Dental Care is a family-owned dental practice. Doctors Irvin and Christina Diatley grew up in the Twin Lakes area and are proud to serve the community. With modern treatment methods and state-of-the-art technology, they are dedicated to providing exemplary care to patients of all ages. Our compassionate team consistently receives training above and beyond the standard of care.
We're changing the way you see dentistry.
Come be a part of our dental family.
Hello, I'm Charles Ferguson. Here at Mountain View Chevrolet, we still do business the old-fashioned way with honesty and integrity. And we have a good inventory of new Chevy cars, trucks, and SUVs from large to small. Our service department has all GM certified technicians, and our friendly salespeople are ready and eager to fit a car truck to your needs in a price range you can afford. We also have a lot full of pre-owned cars and trucks, program and new car trade-ins to choose from. So come see us at Mountain View Chevrolet.
Jim Brown Company keeps you cool when it's hot and warm when it's not. A trusted name in the mountain home community, Jim Brown Company provides timely heating and cooling installation and repairs. Our certified technicians incorporate new technology on every job to provide you with the most advanced services. At our metal fabrication shop, we handle projects big and small. We've created everything from commercial ducts to custom designs.
I'd recommend Jim Brown Company to my friends and neighbors. The reason being they have high-tech equipment, their service techs are well qualified for the job that they do, and they also send me a report after all the work is done so I know exactly what my unit's doing.
By visiting our showroom, you can learn all about our heating and cooling products. We'll educate you on your options and help you decide on the right solution. For total comfort at your home or business, choose Jim Brown Company. Quality service with a family name since 1964.
(7:34), visiting with Senator Clark, District 13, and Bruce Emerson. I'm reading the ballot title on issue 3. and people in the assembly have a different language. I'm a simple guy from northern Arkansas, so tell me, what do I have right now? So let's say this is, let's say in 2020, I get elected to the House of Representatives under what we have right now.
Yes.
What would happen? I go in, I'm elected in November 2020. I take office January 1, 10, or 20, whatever it may be, for swearing in. Under the current law, what can I serve?
Up to 16 years.
Up to 16 years.
Yes.
Now, in the House of Representatives, if I ran for the House seat, what would it be, 99 or, well, I think it's 100 here where I'm sitting right now, which would be no to speak. So if I ran for that seat in 2020 and won, under the current law, I could hold it for how many?
Under issue 3.
The way it is right now.
Oh, the way it is, 16 years.
I can run for the House of Reps for a total of 16 years.
Yes. But under issue 3, it would be 6 years.
6 years.
Which is the way it was before, which was a disaster because you have no institutional knowledge. Your first session, keep in mind, you come in,
yeah,
and we compare it to drinking water from a fire hose.
Yeah.
And when people first tell you that, you don't really.
People don't realize the pressure on a fire hose.
You don't think anything about it until you've got 3,000 bills coming at you. And as a 4.0 valedictorian, I'm not a dumb guy, but 3,000 bills coming at you on every subject that you can imagine. And
it's not just a single page.
And
either.
16-hour days. And, I asked for it. I'm not complaining. But you've got to lean on somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the thoughts I had, well, I love to talk to constituents, and I love to call back to this. You don't have any time to call anybody. I admired my seatmate, Senator Hickey from Texarkana, who I thought read every bill. I found out 2 years later that actually he had, about 2 weeks from the end of the session, because of migraines and lack of sleep, he had stopped trying to read every bill. And people will ask me about bills that are in the House, and I'll tell them I have no idea what that bill says, because most of those bills will not make it out of the House. And I have learned, if it's not going to make it to me, I'm not going to try to study what's there. You have to try to limit what you're trying to learn. You have to try to limit it to your committees, and it's still huge.
Okay, let me be devil's advocate for a minute. And I understand, and I'm reading this, and I like what I'm seeing. In other words, we need the experience. Bruce is considered running at one point for 99. Was it 99 or 98?
99. 98's Ron McNair.
And so, if he were, you go down there, you get elected in November, then you get hit with this big legislative session. You're a freshman. You've not been down there. I mean, you can go down there and you can see what you're supposed to do, but until you sit in that seat, until you get the House of Representatives up and running, it's a learning experience for that first round. Then the next year you get fiscal session, which is not a legislative. Then your third year,
you can actually start doing something.
You can do something. So it takes really, as a House of Representatives member in Arkansas, a minimum of 4 years to get your feet wet.
It really takes that second session. Anybody will tell you, and it's not that you don't do anything your first session, but it is so much learning, and learning how the process, learning how to write bills, learning how to get bills passed.
Right.
Because there's a way to do it, and a whole lot of it is working on those bills the year before, and getting them vetted and being ready when you get to the session.
Okay, the second devil advocate question here. So you're in the Senate, Bruce is in the House. I like what both of you men are doing. You've been there for 15 years. Why not continue what you're doing? You're representing me the way I want you to represent me, but now all of a sudden you're going to be term limited out, and I don't know who to vote for. I'd rather have somebody I know and trust in there for 10, 15, 20 years than to put somebody in there every 6 years. You see what I'm saying? Because I feel term limit is the ballot. So if I say, well, Senator Clark, I don't like what you did, so I'm going to vote for your opponent. Same thing with Bruce. If you're not doing a good job, we the people, don't we have that? But do we not realize we have that right?
And see, that's what's interesting. And
see where I'm coming from?
And I think you can get stratification if you have a lot of people that are there too long. I think that is a danger. Yeah, on the other hand, there's a conservative organization that I have been worked with allied with over the years who supports this. But interestingly enough, they were huge supporters of Senator King, and Senator Brian King, and so am I. Senator Brian King and I are good friends.
From Green Forest?
Yes.
Yeah. And, but Senator King has served 12 years, and the guy that ran against him has only served 6 years. So they should have been against Brian and for his opponent, because Senator King is over the limit that this would allow. So it makes no sense that they would support the guy that their issue would throw out. Right?
Yeah.
Because there is no one better. No one understands the budget better than Brian King. No one. I wish he was going to be back, because I think this would be the session where we would actually start doing something. Where we've got enough people with some experience that we would actually start doing something about spending. And one of the things that's happened with term limits is we have balance of powers. It's at the federal level.
How'd you say
balance of powers. Our whole government is based on that. You have the executive branch, the judicial branch, and the legislative branch. And when you term limited the legislative branch, and I didn't realize this when I supported this back in the 90s, when you term limit the legislative branch, you weaken the people's branch. You took away power because you don't have people there that have been there a while and know what they're doing. So when you did that, power abhors a vacuum. So where'd the power go? It went to the executive branch and it went to the judiciary branch. Well, nobody's watching the judges. Now, we've got some wonderful judges. Let me tell you, I've learned we have some judges that aren't so wonderful. And nobody's watching. Nobody's watching. No one even runs against a judge, much less beats a sitting judge. Think about that. But then the executive branch, that's where all the bureaucrats are. Okay, and so, my first 2 years, if Dale called me, and if he's my constituent, and he says, "Hey, I need help with ADEQ," well, I'm going to call ADEQ. But then when ADEQ brushes me off, I think maybe they're brushing me off, but maybe because I'm a businessman, I've been doing this kind of thing my whole life. But I'm not sure they're brushing me off because I don't have any experience in this field. By now, in my 6th year, when I know these people well enough, and I know and they also know me, and they know better than to brush me off. And so when it comes to constituent service, I assure you, you much rather want somebody that's been there for a few years rather than somebody brand new.
Does the ADEQ have a big lobbyist group down there?
I don't know whether ADEQ does or not. I haven't thought about it. That's environmental quality, so I don't know.
I got a question for you. This is off the subject of the term limits, but our big issue up here is the highways. In fact, the governor was sitting in that very chair 2 weeks ago, and he said, "Dale, what would you do about the highways up here?" I said, "Governor, the first thing I would do is go from West Plains to Rolla, Missouri on US 63, because there's talk about a 4-lane highway. That's expensive. But what they've done on US 63 is they took the existing width of the pavement and they have alternating passing lanes at 60 and 65 miles an hour. They didn't put a median, they didn't put a 4-lane. They have it to where you can pass and turn left. There's a minimal amount of accidents on the road because people understand how it's striped. But when Deanne wrote that bill about raising the speed limits, we can't get them raised up here, because the Highway Commission says, no, we're not going to do that, but yet the law has been passed. So what I want to see the Highway Commission to quit answering to the state legislature as a body and answer to the lieutenant governor. Have him the final say.
Well, the problem is that the Highway Department doesn't really answer to anyone.
I know, and I think they should.
And there's a reason for that. There was it's a huge problem that they're not answerable enough to the legislature. But the reason for that is there was a huge debacle back in the 30s, and we're the only state who has ever defaulted on bonds. It had to do with highways and transportation, and when the legislature had too much power in it, it was powerful legislators who were only doing what they wanted to do, and there was corruption, and
Have you
so
crossed
there
the
needs to be a different
Black
balance.
River between Black Rock and Portia, Arkansas?
I have, but I don't remember it.
It's a 5-lane bridge. They've got a turn lane on a bridge. I heard a chuckle. I had one of the policemen come back from. He says, "Have you seen that bridge on the Black River?" I said, "You mean the 5-lane bridge with the turn lane?" He says, "Yeah." That was under Governor Beebe's what? Wasteful money right there. It's a 5-lane bridge.
But who in 6 years is ever going to know enough about that problem? And it's not just you being there 6 years. You got to keep in mind you're working with a third of people that have been there 4, and a third of the people who just got there. Yeah. And so to get anything passed, you've got to convince the third that just got there are getting hit from every direction, and they don't know who to believe yet. They're not dumb people.
Who do you trust?
They're not dumb people, and that's part of the experience factor is who do I believe? Yeah. And Senator King and I had a lot of discussions my first 4 years, and he said, Alan, you got to watch this, you got to watch that. And I said, Brian, it's not that I don't believe you, but but I'm going to have to figure out for myself whether they're lying or not. Yeah. And you don't do that overnight.
With that, need to take a break. Be right back.
Have you ever noticed every time you wash your car, you end up wetter than the actual car? Next time, run down to Car Care and let the friendly staff put a smile on your face. Car Care of Mountain Home has a variety of services to clean your vehicle's needs, inside and out. From a simple wash and shine to their outstanding detail services. Located 1525 Highway 62 East in Mountain Home. Stop by Car Care Mountain Home today, because driving a clean car always makes you feel good.
So there I was, naked as a jaybird in the shower with soap in my hair and eyes, when I lost water pressure down to a dribble. I immediately grabbed my towel and dialed up Jake at JM Sales and Pump Service. Jake came right over and fixed my water pressure. Now I can take my showers with confidence. Just call Jake.
For all your sales and pump needs, just call Jake at JM Sales and Pump Service, 870-431-5445. He offers high-quality stay-right products.
Why would I recommend Hospice of the Ozarks? Because I know the people that work there, I know their hearts, and I know that their desire is to help people with the suffering and the anxiety and the things that can come with either terminal diagnosis or a terminal condition. We want them to have a peace of heart and to have a comfort and to know that someone's there to help them through that so they can enjoy the time that they have.
Do you know where your money goes when you give to charity? At the Salvation Army, 85 cents of every dollar stays to help those in need in our local community. Hi, I'm Captain Spaulding. The money we raise help people in the surrounding 5 counties, including Baxter, Marion, Sharp, Izzard, and Fulton. You can help by donating your unwanted items and by shopping at the Salvation Army store. Those in need get assistance with rent, utilities, sending kids to camp, and many other things. When it comes to this charity, the Salvation Army always helps those in our community.
.748, visiting with Senator Clark and Bruce Emerson here. We're talking about Issue 3, state legislative term limits. And I'm still trying to get a handle on this because, let me get this right, a no vote opposes the initiative to impose term limits of 6 years to members of the Arkansas House and 8 years for the Senate. In my opinion, if we do yes, then we impose the limits of 6. That's not enough time.
And you don't really get 8 in the Senate. Now, if somebody ran straight for the Senate, which is not what normally happens, yes, because everybody's missing the 10 years overall. So while 6 years in the House has been way too short, and that's what most people never get past the House. Only a third ever serve in the Senate. So 6 years is what most people serve. But now with the 10-year limit overall, there's only 1 term in the Senate. And so since your Senate terms are 4 years, you're going to serve with half the Senate 2 years. And I mean, and so you make as big a mess out of the Senate as you have the House.
Let's see, how did Jack Fortner said, if this goes through, there's only going to be, was it 18 out of 100?
Yeah.
18 out of 100 with experience.
Yeah, they've done nothing about transition.
I'd have to look at the recording.
There'll be like 80 new House members.
So 18% would have experience.
Yeah. And but to give historical perspective, and I think this is important, but because we have such a great country, and part of that is our founding documents and how we got started. And and although my dad was a history teacher, a lot of times you forget what you forget. And the Continental Congress met the first time not in 1776, but in 1774. And they continued to meet through 1789 when we adopted the Constitution. That happens to be 16 years, the same amount of time as we currently allow in our term limits. For that 16 years, we had 35 men who served that whole time. Let me tell you some of those names. George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, Alexander Hamilton, Patrick Henry, and here may be the most important one, James Madison.
Wow.
The father of the Constitution. And one of the good things about this is it's caused me to study Madison lately. And Madison, he was so concerned because we're not the first democracy, and all the previous democracies had failed. And so Madison did a lot of study, when you read the Federalist Papers, of why they failed. And that's why we have a republic rather than direct democracy. But consider that 16 years, consider if we'd had 6-year term limits. 1780, Madison's gone. And I want to tell you that you don't have that one spark, you don't have that one driving force. There's a good chance, and not only that, not only is he the father of the Constitution, he was the driving force behind the Bill of Rights. So all of a sudden you don't have the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the Eighth, the Seventh. I mean, there's not one there that's not important. And you have a whole different country with 6-year term limits. And not only that, we lose perspective of how long wars are. The Revolutionary War, and very few people remember this, 8 years and 4 months. So they could not have even served, with a 6-year term limit, they could not even serve throughout the whole Revolutionary War. And so we don't understand how long it is.
And we're doing this to ourselves.
And the terrible thing, the worst thing is that it would never get fixed. Because one of the things that's there that they're proudest of is the only way it could ever be fixed in the future is the legislature couldn't put it on the ballot like they can with any other constitutional amendment. In the future, if this passes, the Constitution says that it could only be done by citizen initiative. And there has not been a citizen initiative in the last 20 years that was not paid for by special interests with big money. This time, $500,000 by dark money. We don't know who's paid for it. I mean, it's national term limits, but we don't know who the donors are. We don't know anything about it, and there's not anybody to do. There's nobody to go out and do that in the future.
Okay, we've got about 7 minutes and 15 seconds here. Issue 3 is the state of Arkansas legislative term limits. If you're watching in Missouri, I know this has nothing to do with Missouri right now, but a yes vote supports the ballot initiative to impose term limits of 6 years for members of the Arkansas House. What that does is extremely handicaps those House members.
It does.
So out of the 6 years, you're basically going to have, well, if you get in there in the off season, you're going to have 1 legislative session and 2 fiscals, maybe.
And it extremely limits the Senate because you serve 6 years in the House, you can only serve 1 term in the Senate.
Yeah.
It is everything. There's no continuity there.
Okay. Another one of those questions. You can serve in the Senate on a 4-year term, but at the House for 2 years. Why don't you have 4 and 4?
You'd have to ask the people who
wrote
did
that.
it. I don't think there's a lot of thinking put into it. And if this were my last session and somebody runs for my seat, we have 10-year cycles between redistricting because of the census. So the Senate is actually 4, 4, and 2, or 2, 4, and 4, depending on how you draw. So I drew a 4-year term, so I've got 4 years, 4 years. Well, the next term is 2. So if somebody from the House that has 6 years runs for my seat, they actually will only have 8 years because they can't run for another 4-year term. Even though they might draw a 2-year because it's possibly a 4-year under this amendment, they really have not thought it through. It's just not good law.
We had lunch with a friend of mine earlier in the week, and we both agreed, we're not a big fan of term limits. Yes, you can get somebody in there, like look at Ted Kennedy in Massachusetts, 1962 to whenever, and there's a lot of money keeping him in that office in Massachusetts on the national level. But when on the state level, you think, well, he served 15, 18, 20 years, it's time for some new blood in there. The voters have the right every time they're up for re-election.
Let me interject. You're doing an outstanding job. Let me just make a very solid point here. This term limit issue 3 on our ballot, is not a national issue.
It's a state issue.
It's a state issue.
It's
We
a state
cannot.
of Arkansas. Yeah.
With the way this is done and the way it's being put on, we cannot vote
It will
on
not
a
affect
national
Senator
term
Cotton or
limit.
Senator Bozeman. It won't affect French Hill
this
or
is
Crawford
state
or Womack.
only. State only.
And that's excellent. That's was just getting ready to make that point. I'm glad you did, because that's what we hear. A third to a half of the voters, when you talk about this issue, we'll talk about Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer.
Won't touch them.
And
It has nothing to do with
and,
them.
and it doesn't
Not
touch
federal
them.
level, yeah.
Only a federal amendment, which
Yeah.
we would never be able to vote on a popular ballot.
No, no.
And so it's
This is strictly the state issue. Yeah.
And and it's a solution looking for a problem. We've from those who were elected in 2010 in the House, I think there were 45. There are going to be, I believe it's going to be 12 that are going to be back. So and
There's
that's
no experience.
but that's not term limits. Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be serving 10 years for the first time ever we've had anybody that long. But that's 12 out of 45. And so in the Senate, Ron Caldwell will be number 10 in seniority out of 35. He's in his 7th year. People talk about lifetime politicians. There are no lifetime politicians in the Arkansas legislature. And the other thing they do is they equate governor, et cetera. Well, the governor's only got 8 years. I support that. But the governor's got 24/7 and all this staff. All of us are working full-time jobs, and you're not on this 24/7. At least we didn't intend to be.
Sometimes it is, though.
How early did you get up this morning to drive up here from Hot Springs?
Well, we came up last night.
Oh, okay.
And actually, you good point. My wife drove me through the monsoon, and I dozed a little bit because I need 8 hours sleep, and I've been getting about 4 or 5. And I'm not complaining. It's such an honor to serve as a state senator, and that my district elected me. And that's one of the things, I'm in my prime earning years, and I really should be at work at what we call our real jobs. Mm-hmm. Should be at work earning money. But, that's a decision I made about 2 years in, is I'm not going to look back and say, I wish I had while I was there.
Be proud of what you're doing, yeah. Yeah, this has been a good discussion, and a lot of these issues, excuse me, got a frog that won't hop here. A lot of these issues, we look at the title, but we don't read the body of the bill. So we have to read these things, folks. You got to be educated. 2 minutes, Scooter.
And that's the problem with the initiatives, period, that Madison warned us about in the Federalist Papers, that the Athenians, it took 6,000 citizens to meet to vote on anything, and they could start a whisper campaign, and the next thing you knew, you were going to war. Yeah. And so what happens is you say term limits, and I say, I like term limits. I mean, seriously. But the reason we have a republic is so that we elect people that take the time to study it, look at it. I mean, you look at the casino amendment. If you talk to people in Russellville and Pine Bluff, they don't really want it, but they're not being consulted. So,
no. And then that casino amendment, it's going to fix the highways. The Highway Commission, no, it won't. There's nothing in there.
It actually, people don't realize it cuts taxes for Oaklawn, and I'm from Hot Springs. Cuts taxes for Oaklawn and Southland. And but there's nobody on the other side with any money to even put that message out there.
About 45 seconds. Your final thoughts, Senator. Appreciate you being here. Thanks for coming up.
First, thanks for having me, and thanks for all you do here. Grateful that Senator Flippo is serving here. He just
hi, Flip.
It's such a joy to serve with Senator Flippo. He's one of the true conservatives in the Senate, and really, for a young man, for any age actually, has a great head on his shoulders. Yep. And but issue 3, you can support term limits and realize this is a terrible law. Yep. And we need some people with experience, and we also we do need fresh blood, but we get that through elections.
You bet. Got to wrap it up. Back tomorrow. Thanks, Senator Clark and Bruce, for being here. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, everybody.